Good morning and welcome to our studio live in Lagos. My name is Apobanjo. Welcome to Crossfire. Now, a couple of times you sit back and wonder exactly what our society is becoming. And then sometimes you wonder, and the government comes around to promise everyone that everything is going to be okay. As their primary assignment when sworn into government and governance starts, it's to provide security for lives and property. And so many things that are happening in our immediate environment seems to be getting a lot of people worried. Now, on Crossfire today, we have fantastic stories that we're bringing your way. And I have no doubt that you are there to be a part of the show at the same time. I have Ishoma Againe with me in the studio. We'll be running the show together. Ishoma, good morning.
Good morning, Depo. Good morning, Nigerians, and welcome to Crossfire.
All right. Now, on a very, very interesting note, because it's becoming really very sad at the same time. But we have, updates for you on the very popular trending story about Ese Oruru. When I said that, you remember the 14-year-old girl that was probably kidnapped, or probably she eloped with her boyfriend way back August 12th in 2015. But the story have a turn, and that's the fact that Ese has been found, and she has actually been living in the emirs of Kano's palace in Kano State. And worries are beginning to come as so many stories are beginning to emerge concerning her whereabouts, how she got to Kano, and eventually yesterday evening, the news have it that Ese is 5 months pregnant. Here's a 14-year-old girl who claimed to be 17 years old, and then you begin to wonder, is it that Ese Oruru doesn't know her age, really? Or she's just trying to play safe with her boyfriend, Yunusa? And so that, everything...
Or maybe she was also instructed to say
all of those things. Anyway, it's really very sad, to find out that the parents have been worried since August last year, and it's about 6 months that she's been away from home, and I can only imagine the trouble, the turmoil that the family would have gone through, especially Ese's parents. Now, as a matter of fact, we have another twist, another story that is really very sad, and that is the abduction of 3 girls in a secondary school in the Ikorodu corner. And these girls were abducted about 9:30 p.m. on Monday when, they were actually, prepping. And it's so unfortunate that so many times we have information that the school fence has been observed to be very low, and the school authority has been informed so many times to probably raise the fence up, but up till the time of adoption, and nothing has been done. And let's quickly let you know that about 10 p.m. last night, a call went through to the father of one of the abducted girls, and the kidnappers are actually asking for 300 million naira to release the 3 girls. That's like, mathematically speaking, about 100 million per girl. Now, Ishoma, it's really very mind-blowing that, we have this happening. When I was growing up, things like this we watch them on the TV, in the movie. Foreign or local movies. They just tell us, some storylines. And it's beginning to play out, in real life. Now, Ese disappeared since August 12th, 2015, as a teenager at the very early, stage of her teenage, at about 13. Purportedly, she's about 14 years old now. And Yunusa, who happens to be a northerner, my concern is that Yunusa probably never saw Ese as too young to marry, as a northerner, because they obviously marry very early, and these young girls,
all of them.
exactly,
some of them, depending on the personal belief also.
But truth is that, age 13 is actually not a bad age for girls to get married in the northern part of Nigeria. This is a story that we have in history. One of governors of one of the states in the northern part of Nigeria who married a 13-year-old girl. And the girl is not even a Nigerian. She was brought into the country, married to a former governor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Exactly. Mm-hmm. If a governor can do that, and that's a 13-year-old girl. With fact, I'm telling you that Yunusa probably assumed, as usual, that a northern girl at that age is mature to marry. And so probably Yunusa doesn't see any reason why, she should be accused of doing the wrong thing.
Okay, now we're talking about Essay's issue on one hand. We're talking about the three
Adopted girls,
young girls from the secondary school boarding house. And now there's also been reports also in the media about another 14-year-old girl from Benue State, by name Pt.1, who was also kidnapped. And the last time she was seen with her family was August 12th, 2014. Apparently, it seems like the same day Essay was also missing.
Just a difference in the year.
Yes,
all the same day.
Just different, like in terms of age. But this young girl also, as at the time she was being kidnapped, was 14, age 14. And according to some of the reports her father has, some of the statements her father has been making was that they actually went to the Sultan of Sokoto's palace and they got reports that she was there, but they got that they couldn't find her. But then they found one of her friends who was also abducted, living in the palace. All of these issues do not make good. So the thing is, we need these people to come out. We need them to make statements. Now, one thing is sure. It doesn't matter. I think it's high time we stop seeing Nigeria as, northern Nigeria or southern Nigeria. We're talking about Nigeria. Nigeria should be a merger of both factions, both northern Nigeria and southern Nigeria, coming together as one Nigeria. And that means we should have strict laws which respect the sanctity called Nigeria. So the issue now is, what does the law of Nigeria say? Does it outrightly prohibit the marriage or abduction of these young girls and forcing them to convert into another religion and thus marrying them far? If it does, then that means we shouldn't have governors doing the same. It doesn't matter what their religion is. As long as the law of Nigeria says it is prohibited for any individual to get married to any underage child, any young lady below the age of 18, nobody should do it and hide under the cloak of their religion.
Now, Unisa's father...
You see that the lapse we're having here is our laws.
Yesterday, Unisa's father came out, spoke with the press, in his house. And, we have a couple of, the clans, within, the same environment. And he was talking to the press and said, Unisa called from Bayelsa, told him about bringing the young girl, and that he told him outrightly, don't bring that girl to Kano. And then the next moment, he got another call a few days after that they are already on their way. And lo and behold, Yunusa showed up with Ese in Kano, in her father's house. And then the father reported, to the, I guess to the head of the community immediately. And the head of the community eventually, one thing, led to the other, and eventually found themselves at the emir's palace. And the emir already said that when the case was brought to him, he instructed immediately that this and this and this as the steps to be taken. Eventually, one of the instructions was that, one of the things that the leader of the community did was that since the girl was already with them, I would have expected them to put that girl back in a vehicle and bring him back to her father's house. But rather, they registered her in an Islamic school, and she was taught over time, about
forced to convert.
We all know how
the truth is,
these instructions are passed.
Failure to do what is needful shouldn't exonerate any individual from the penalties which are attached to it. Okay. So in that case, all the key players, all those who were actively involved, if the emir is coming out to say all of this, does that mean now that as holding the office of the emir, does that mean that he failed to exert energy and control over his subject?
Maybe. Anyway, the question now is that,
we know that
the story
steps that he could have taken.
The story is
to
really
ensure that she was taken back
very
home.
complicated, and you keep wondering: are the parents to be blamed? In this case, are the parents to be blamed? Is government to be blamed? Is the emir to be blamed? Is Unisa to be blamed? Is Unisa's parents to be blamed?
At the end of the day,
then you see a trend
each and every one, all the active players, all those involved have their share of responsibilities. The issue now is the police also have their own share of responsibilities, especially from some of the information that has been out there. But what matters most is that we need to use this case as a classical example to prevent the future occurrence of such. We have the issue of patients of Paul, of Miss Paul, still hanging there. We even have the issue of the 3 young girls who were abducted. These things have been happening before, but we should make that conscious effort. It is government's responsibility to make the laws and make sure that these laws are working and to punish those who engage in such acts.
All right. Now,
We
the
have
House of
to.
Representatives has given instruction, particularly to the 3 abducted girls in Lagos in a school in Ikorodu, that they should, giving the instruction to the Inspector General of Police that those girls should be released, immediately. So I don't know, maybe they are preparing to pay the ransom, or they are looking for another way.
Well, the government has set up a 10-man panel
to get
to
the
look
girls
into
out.
it.
Let's quickly go on a short break. When we come back, we will be talking about the fuel crisis looming in Nigeria. The queues are back, even though as at this morning they are fast disappearing. What exactly happened, we may not really know, but we'll be talking about that in details when we come back from this break. Much ado about fuel crisis in Nigeria. We'll be right back. All right, we're back in the studio live from Lagos, and if you're watching us, it's Crossfire on Wazobia Max, channel 57 on our terrestrial platform. I have Ishomaga Ine with me in the studio, and we have a guest to join us, just as we went on that break, and we definitely will be engaging him on some pressing economic issues in Nigeria. He's no other person but a former presidential candidate. He ran under the platform of the National Conscience Party. And let me tell you, he's one of the favorite, contestants in that big election in 2015. Let's welcome Martin Onovo to our Lagos studio.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing having you.
Good to have you back on our show. It's been a while. How have you been, sir?
Well, try to get a rest, because elections will exhaust you completely. They will exhaust you financially, they will exhaust you physically, they will exhaust you emotionally, they will exhaust you spiritually, they will exhaust you socially. You'll be completely exhausted.
But we hope that we'll begin to see you active, and also particularly with some of the issues trending now, the fuel scarcity. We also hope that the nation can also learn from your wealth of experience and expertise.
Well, we're Nigerians. We're not doing anybody a favor by trying to make our country work. We're working for ourselves.
True.
It's our country. If it works, it's our benefit. If it doesn't work, it's our pain.
True.
So we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that Nigeria works.
All right, can I quickly engage you? Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
what's your perception about the Buhari administration? I'll quickly tell you, give you some pointers. It took a long while after they came into power to name ministers. At the same time, people felt that some pegs are not appropriately, in the holes.
In the right position.
So we have some round pegs in a square hole. We have some square pegs in a round hole. Some misfit in the Federal Executive Council, and then we have a lot of other crises that that we have at hand. We still have Boko Haram kind of prevailing in the northeastern part of Nigeria. We have IPOB and MASOB in the in the southeastern part of Nigeria, agitating for the Federal Republic of Biafra. And at the same time, we still have so many myriads of issues affecting the economy. The dollar is nosedived. Oil is deep, is so deep that Nigeria cannot even depend on it. And at the same time, we have a lot of insecurity every year. Almost in everywhere and all of that. So, let's just briefly talk about the state of the nation, and then we focus on, on the fuel crisis and what has been responsible and if it's going to stop soon.
Every human society is founded on values, laws. That is the foundation of every human society. Everything else rests on this. Values and laws. I like what she was saying about the law. Everybody needs to comply. Those who deviate need to be punished. Earlier, that's what she was saying. And I agree with that. Maybe because she's a lawyer, but it's not about law. It's
obviously that's right.
It's what every civilized society is founded on. Now, when you destroy those, you are destroying that society. And what is happening now is that when you make deceit a policy of government, there are consequences. When laws are disregarded with impunity, then both the comments he made and the one I'm going to make, what you're going to have is the kind of disorder you have in Nigeria today. And unfortunately, if one conductor out there on the street disregards the law, it has a smaller impact. But if the political leadership in any country disregards the law, that is a declaration of lawlessness. And it is overcomplicated when the values that should regulate my conduct, even as an individual, and regulate yours, even before the laws come in place, the values that public morality, we need to tell the truth, patriotism, we need to work for the interest of our country. When you destroy these, you have destroyed the foundation of society. And using the perspective of religion, when the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? And that's what's happening in Nigeria. If government will deliberately be deceiving people with false information, repeated, exposed, modified, repeated, that's the bad example that everybody will follow. It's just like the argument of Nigerians are corrupt. It's not only the political leaders. No. Nigerians became corrupt following the political leaders.
Are you saying now that this government is corrupt and lawless?
Well, what I will tell you is that facts do not lie. I don't want to give my opinion because it may be interpreted as partisan. Okay. But let me give you a few facts. The civil service regulations dictates how you should sack or remove a PAMSEC. The last set of, I think, about 7 PAMSECs removed. Yeah. Go and find out whether that complied. You remove the AMCON board.
I think part of the information...
I'm giving examples.
Part of the information in the public domain is that they were closed or they actually have exhausted their time in the ministries.
There is a procedure in civil service regulations. You follow the procedures. Some of them have written a petition to the National Assembly. So maybe you're not aware. That's by the way. I'll give enough examples. Okay. So it's not about finding excuses. Now, the law says you cannot discriminate against Nigerians. That's the highest law in the country, Constitution. Now, your political or the leader of the ruling party goes abroad, not even in Nigeria, and says those who voted for me 5% cannot expect to be treated like those who voted for me 97%. Now, that's also a contravention of the oath of allegiance sworn on the Quran by a Muslim. So these things are public facts. Okay. The oath of allegiance, you can open it here. Was it one? It was sworn. Is it a matter of integrity to comply with it? Yes. If you don't comply, do you have honor? Do you have dignity? Do you have integrity? No. So it's not about my opinion.
Okay, Mr. Onovo, I have a question for you. There's a perception that when people lose in elections,
yes,
they develop this very strong, how will I put it? Animosity, a form of hatred, and then speeches that does not particularly encourage, the government of the day will be such as you hear from them on regular basis. I mean, do you think any of this is, is informed, or you are informed by any of this, any of this perception that are out there? Are you really very pessimistic about the government of the day because you lost in the last election?
I am. Am I pessimistic about the government of the day? Yes. Okay. Very pessimistic. Okay. I repeat. You want me to put it in writing?
No.
I'll put it in writing and put my signature. Why? All the critical things you need for leadership are absent in this government. It doesn't have to do with whether I contested or not. I have been following Chief Gani Fawemi since 1987. He didn't contest in 1967 when he started. So corrupt and deceitful people will have these attacks against those of us who stand for patriotism. But just like I told my dear sister, facts don't lie. What are the most basic things, the principal factors in leadership success? Integrity is number one. You lack it, you are just a deceiver. Just like Satan, you can't make progress.
But that's a plus.
I'm coming.
That's a plus for Mr. President because...
You need to let me answer one question. Okay. You have talked about people who lost elections. Okay. Can I answer that?
Okay.
Don't cause a diversion.
All right.
Now, integrity is clearly lacking. If you swear falsely on the Quran, or on the Bible, or on your Amadioha, or anything you believe, or by Shango, you lack integrity. Especially when you swear publicly. Now, that's number one, and there are too many examples. Number two, vision. A clear vision. Look at the economy. It took a Wole Soyinka, an independent citizen, to tell the government that the economic direction is parlous. I'm quoting him, parlous. Maybe he lost the election too. So that the economic direction is parlous. And the government needs to quickly call a national emergency economic conference. And then, within 2 weeks, the government responds that it will do that. That is a confirmation and confession that we lack vision. Now, 9 months after, this is the 10th month, you want to convene the conference to decide what you will do in a 4-year tenure, where the last year is an election year. Excuse me, please.
Okay,
Excuse me. Finally. I'm not criticizing.
Okay.
I'm telling you what will help you.
While you're pointing at the loopholes.
And what will help your country.
While you're pointing at the loopholes.
Excuse me. Competence is critical. You know, I said 3 things are basic and most fundamental: integrity, vision, and competence. Mental competence. Moral competence is even more important than mental competence. Then, physically, if you're in a hospital, if I'm in a hospital, I'm constrained. It's not whether do I like that boy. I say that boy is in a hospital and is indisposed to do his job. They say it's because you hate that boy. Instead of dealing with the facts, is that boy in a hospital? Is he indisposed? They say you hate that boy before. That's why you're saying such things. What type of thing is that? Is that a productive mental disposition? It is not. Do what is right, get the right results. In Nigeria, they put sentiments in front, do what is wrong. When it fails, they say it is your bad belly that caused it. Do what is right, you get the right results. As long as you do what is wrong, you will get the wrong result. Simple.
Okay, all right, now, I need to ask this, please. Now, it's amazing that you've pointed at some of the loopholes which you have seen in the government, and perhaps also some of our viewers may also align with your position. But now, in moving forward, because it's amazing to criticize, but it's perfect, it's more sufficient to provide solutions and to help the government succeed. Like you said in your opening speech, if Nigeria fails, it's for all of us, and if it succeeds, it's for all of us. The issue is, what are you doing currently now to help the government succeed?
All right, I'm going to take your comment when we come back from this short break. Let's go on a break now. We'll be right back.